Welcome back to KC Talks EV. So today is the 17th of July 2021 and I'm heading down for EVs in the Park 2021. Now I didn't go to the one in 2020 obviously because of the pandemic and I didn't have my ZS EV beforehand, so I'm actually really excited to go this year. So pretty much, if I had to explain it in a bit more detail, it is kind of a massive gathering of EV drivers, which I kind of absolutely love doing. I love talking to fellow EV drivers and see what the current models are about, as well as obviously talking to fellow MG owners and all that good stuff. So today, at least, the route's fairly straightforward. It's heading down to Coventry via the Wheatsheaf in Loughborough, which I have charged at before in previous videos. But in fact, actually on the way back, I'm not heading back up to Hull. I'm actually going down to London and staying overnight. So I won't go into too much detail, but today it should be fairly straightforward, fingers crossed. And I will update you as we go on. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, so we've just arrived here at the Wheatsheaf in Loughborough. So I've done 105.3 miles. It was 60 miles per hour average speed, but it's dropped to 59. Hour and 47 minutes and 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. In terms of charging speed, so I plugged in, we were at 26% on the actual charging station and 25%. So there's a bit of a discrepancy, but that's okay. So we were doing 399 volts at 90 amps. So that is approximately 36 kilowatt. I'll put the full figures down here. So yeah, that is a little bit slower than what I've seen previously. However, there might be some other reasons, for example, some current limiting or something from the charger end. I have been told that there are much more smarter things in the box. So yeah, so sometimes it won't deliver the full, but that's absolutely fine. I mean, in terms of battery temperature, we're looking at 23 degrees Celsius, so I don't think it's that. And even if it was too hot, the battery cooling would have kicked in. But to be honest, I'm actually really good on schedule. I'm actually quite a bit earlier than I thought, really. So I can spend a reasonable amount of time here, and that's not too much of a problem. So I've just arrived here at EVs in the Park. It is absolutely packed. I probably have some footage here. So what we're going to do now is actually we are going to have a look at some of the booths actually. And in fact, I've managed to secure 3 interviews from HEVRA or HEVRA. So that's the independent garage section, I guess. I also got an interview from Zoom EV, so they specialize in EV related services, and our Symons, which specialize in, well, they're a electric car specialist dealership.
I don't know why this
So here I'm at the HEVRA stand. I'm here with Gary to talk about what HEVRA has actually done. I've previously talked about it in other videos about the idea of independent garages, etc. So I guess could you sort of summarise what HEVRA really is, I guess?
So HEVRA support independent garages with EV repairs. So we make sure the garages have got the safety training, they've got the right tools and expertise, so people can be confident if they need to get work done on their electrical hybrid vehicle, they can choose their local HEVRA garage by going on the website, find their local garage, and if that garage, maybe it's a new EV they've not seen before, but they have the experience, the backup of ours, so we have a technical support line, and the garages can ring us if they see an obscure fault, something like that. So it gives you the confidence to take the vehicle to a HEVRA garage, and if they have had experience of it themselves, they can ring us, and then we can make EV repair better in the future.
Okay, great. I guess the way that I'd kind of also put it, is in previous sort of, my kind of misconception, I guess, with EVs is the fact that I originally thought the only place where you could service an EV, especially when it came to all the software, was at a main dealer. And unfortunately, the prices are quite a bit more expensive. I mean, how do you sort of, do you actually affect a lot of the... Do you believe that, pricing is going to be significantly cheaper by going to independent garages still, even with EVs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all know main dealer labour pricing is a lot more expensive, and the vast majority of the jobs can be done by an independent garage. There are some software updates that have to be from the manufacturer, but in terms of things like servicing, it doesn't affect your warranties using independent. They're often a lot quicker, better service, with a HEVRA backup. They've got that kind of support. And we try and make sure the garages are really as good as they can be. And in some cases, the repairs we can do are actually better than main dealer, because main dealers will replace, whole units, a kind of big bang approach, whereas we are really into the diagnostics and working out what the real core problem is with the vehicle. And if it's an independent component that we can get from an electronic specialist, not from the main dealer, not from the manufacturer, then we can go down that way with the repair route. And we've done that before. We've kept cars on the road, by replacing the individual components. So that's what we do.
But actually, to be honest with you, I was actually talking to Gary before this. I mean, you were talking about, for example, the Renault Zoe sort of AC pumps. I mean, could you maybe explain a bit more in detail what you're actually doing with that one?
The AC pump on the Zoe is quite a common failure. It's used as a heat pump system, so there's a lot of demand on the AC system because that's heating out. So it's used a lot. It's a little bit of a weak link in the system, the Zoe AC pumps. So they fail quite a lot. But HEVRA garages are able to do tests on them. We're able to replace them. It's no problem at all. And actually the tests we do, a HEVRA garage, the main thing we do is try and really confirm what the fault is before we actually do the work. Main dealers will often say, the computer says it's this. That's what my diagnostic sheet says, and they change it whether it really is or not. They don't really confirm the diagnosis. So, whereas a HEVRA garage, the AC pump is really an integral part of charging. It's not just AC. It's doing heating. It's cooling the battery. So it's important, obviously, it's working properly, and there's various things that can go wrong with it. But we have test plans we give to the garages, so they check that exactly what's happening. Sometimes the vehicle won't charge, and actually it's the AC pump. So we have the test plans. We give them the steps to go through to work out exactly what's wrong with it, and then when we know what's wrong with it, we fix it, and more than likely cheaper than the main dealer. So that's what we do.
That's great. I mean, to be fair, cheaper costs for EVs. I mean, in terms of fuel costs alone, normally we're saving quite a lot, but most certainly, I mean, HEVRA is definitely making also servicing costs and general sort of maintenance, especially cheaper as well. So thank you very much, Gary.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
So here I am at the Zoom EV booth. I'm here with Greg. Would you like to sort of start off, what is Zoom about?
We're about three things. Casey, Kevin?
Yep.
Whichever. We do three things. We help people lease EVs, so private, business. We have what's called our EV driver benefits bundle. So if you're transitioning to EV, we handhold you, give you access to all the services you need and save you money through Zoom specific rates. And then we also have our own kind of car sharing platform. So if you want to take a car from a local auto dealer and rent an EV for the weekend, We have individuals who rent their own EVs out as well and generate money in a community. So it's all about shared mobility and sharing EVs to improve the world, Casey, to improve the world.
Because yeah, that was actually one of the things I was going to mention, because car sharing, obviously, especially in the ICE world at least, has become a lot more popular recently. People have started to realise that if they can manage with public transport with a bit in between with EVs, they will actually car share. And in fact, actually, I haven't really heard too much about EV specific car sharing.
Yep.
So would you like to talk a bit more about that?
Absolutely. So really, the reason that we started it was, when you look at kind of what's happening in the world, cities very much focusing on air quality, people wanting to get into EVs, and us wanting to get more and more people into EVs. If you take auto dealers, they have cars sat around doing nothing. Well, why not actually turn them into revenue generating opportunities, offer a different service to people who don't need to own one because they're only using it, as quite rightly you say. They don't need a car all the time. So effectively that platform enables you to rent a car from a local auto dealer, or if you're an EV owner as well, you could effectively rent your car out.
Okay, so that's actually quite interesting, because I've looked at things, I mean, if you don't mind me name dropping some competitors, but like Turo, for example.
Yep.
But the thing is, they don't specialize in EVs. So actually, for me at least, especially if, for example, pretty much my customers pretty much want an EV, I can always come to Zoom. So
exactly. So, and the nice thing about EVs and car sharing is that people want to get into EVs. You can now use EVs that take you hundreds of miles, not like my Renault Zoe, which is 80, let's say, on a nice day.
You're an EV driver, so I ask. As you can,
old school.
Excellent.
But if someone does use a car, we can give them access to the benefits and the rates across public charging. So we can connect people in ways that those competitors don't. And for auto dealers who give their customers bundles, they also run their cars that are sitting idle from the same place. So again, they get to interact with customers. So yeah, if you're looking to rent an EV from a local dealer, you want to get into something that's a bit bigger because you're going on a staycation, that's fine. And you can also join our community in terms of sharing your vehicle as well.
And you know what? I think I might actually, after EVs in the park, so you might have a new customer.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Greg.
No, thanks, Casey.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'm here with Richard Symons of obviously R. Symons EV sales here. So would you care to sort of introduce yourself and sort of a bit of your background at R. Symons, I guess?
Yeah, no problem. So I'm Richard Symons, the company's R. Symons Limited, now sort of known more as RSEV, it's a bit easier to remember. And I used to run a computer software company, but I play with cars now, and I've been doing that for 11 years. And 6 years ago I bought my first Tesla. And that then brought about knowing quite a bit about Teslas and electric vehicles in general. So for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been a specialist in electric vehicles, especially Teslas, just given my ownership and knowledge of them. And I think we're probably the biggest used Tesla dealership in the country. And we do some other electric cars now as well, some great things on the market. So we've got a little bit of everything. We primarily sell used electric cars, but we've got pretty busy YouTube channel ourselves now, and we do quite a lot of aftermarket modifications on the cars, like PPF, ceramic coating, D-chrome kits and stuff like that as well now. So yeah, it's all evolved in a busy little business.
I just thought I'd mention, just for the record, I have subscribed to the channel as well. So
brilliant, yeah. That's good.
But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, one thing that I didn't actually know about R. Symons, because I've actually seen, obviously, your listings on Auto Trader.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't notice about all the customizations that you do. So would you care to maybe talk a bit more about some customizations that you do?
Yeah, that's it. So what's popular now, and this is a brand new Model 3 that we've brought along here today, which demonstrates some of those. So, for example, what's quite popular now is getting a brand new car, and we first of all detail the paint. When you get a new car, it still tends to have some swirls in and paint defects. So this car here, for example, has about 25 hours of polishing, so it's like mirror finished glass down the side here. We've covered the whole front end of this in a PPF paint protection film, so it's a clear film that protects the car from stone chips and scratching and swirls. And even if you scratch it, if I scratch it at my nails now, the heat, especially on the day like today, that will actually self-heal and be perfect again. So especially if you've got a black car, which is the hardest one to look after, it's a great thing to have. If you buy a Model 3 with the previous generations that has a chrome around the windows, we can de-chrome them so it looks exactly like this one here. And then we've ceramic coated this one. Really popular addition now that we sell a lot of is the dashboard replacement. So they come with a wooden dashboard, a standard with a black interior. And now this one has an Alcantara dashboard, including now this is a made in China car, which has the door trims as well, which would have originally been, well, this one was white originally, but for the black interior, this would be wood. Not always the most popular option, so this Alcantara is a really quick, easy swap, but so effective, and that trim matches the door cards, for example. So that's really popular. Window tinting as well. Model 3 is quite hard to do with that massive glass rear window, so we do a lot of that. Small bits of bodywork repairs, wheel colour changes, so that as well as prepping the cars we're selling, it keeps us very busy. Yeah.
Well, I was about to say actually, the one thing about my ZS EV, I've got a red ZS EV, is the fact is the window tinting is absolute pants. So to be honest with you, I don't know whether you do the ZS EV, but maybe I should send it over.
Yeah, we can tint any. So the Model 3 is one of the hardest cars to tint, but we can tint any. So this one here would have had no tint, but one like this example here is a 20% tint grade, which then looks factory finished and standard, and then includes all this rear panel here, which is really big. You need a very wide roll of film, and it's very hard to do, but we've done loads now. But yeah, we tinted the van we have in the background now, our mobile office. So no problems to do any car basically. Yeah.
Smashing. Well, thank you very much.
No problem. And if you're ever in the South Coast, come and see us. Customer lounge, that's air conditioned as well, like you know down today.
Well, yeah,
and
definitely on
big
today.
Warehouse full of various electric cars, of which this is just a small sample.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you very much. So that's pretty much it for EVs in the Park 2021. So I just want to say thank you for everyone for attending. It's been absolutely amazing to see all of you. It's been amazing to talk about literally anything to do with EVs. It's been absolutely amazing. I also want to say a special thanks to the booths that I attended, and they were really happily to be interviewed, and that's been absolutely amazing. So I just want to give a special thanks to the HEVRA. They actually opened my eyes a bit more in regards to the technical support that they also provide. They also had a little interactive activity, you know, guess what part that is. That's quite cool. So I also want to give a special thanks to Zoom EV. They offer multiple EV related services, and it kind of comes in all one continuous package, which is quite interesting and definitely makes it easier for EV owners. And finally, our Symons for obviously help explaining what they do, and also possibly helping you out if you want to purchase an EV. So that's pretty much it. So if you like the video, please like the video. If you dislike it, please dislike it. Leave a comment below to ask what you want next. Make sure you click on that bell icon to make sure you are informed of any future videos. Thank you for watching, and talk to you later.